Hello and welcome back to the Squared Circle with me, David Alorca.
And me, Joe Ojala.
That's right. It is time to discuss the main event of the evening. We're talking the undisputed light heavyweight championship of the world. Artur Beterbiev versus Dmitry Bivol. It's all going down Saturday night live and direct in Riyadh. Salivating at the bit. I remember when that first fight finished. I remember how pissed you were that the IBF were going to come in and strip Artur Beterbiev of that title or force him to fight a mandatory. And thank the Lord for HE that he came in, did the thing early doors ahead of any mandatories to get this back on for the undisputed light heavyweight championship of the world. Now, talk to me about this clash once again.
Oh, mate. They do it again. Bro, you know, I've never enjoyed a fight that much. And you know, with great fights, yeah, how many times can you say it's a guaranteed blockbuster? It's a guaranteed great fight. You're going to see fireworks. You're going to see boxing mastery. You're going to see IQ. You're going to see skills. And you're going to see boxing lessons, right? How many times you can say that's guaranteed going to happen? Not very often, right? And I was extremely annoyed to find out the fact that Dmitry Bivol couldn't potentially not be an undisputed champion. And thank God the IBF have fixed up. Thank God HE has come in and swerved that, missed with that BS, you know what I'm trying to say? But yeah, man, I think it's going to be a great fight once again. I think it's going to be a blockbuster. I'm just excited. There's not really any words to say how great this fight is going to be, in all honesty, David.
Yeah, no, obviously we've seen the first fight. We've seen how the styles clashed during that first fight. And we saw a lot of controversy come out of that fight, you know, after the final bell. When it came to the scorecards being read out, I had it the way in which it went. I had it with Artur Beterbiev winning the fight, his first victory without a knockout, which I'm positive that he was and still is disappointed in, because he usually ends fights without any sort of what we're gonna say.
He just leaves the body cold and bounces.
Yeah. So there's nothing inconclusive.
Yeah.
He ends things conclusively without a shadow of a doubt. And so for him, it must have been incredibly nervy going into that reading out of the judges. But for Dmitry Bivol, he boxed beautifully during that fight as well. And many times during that fight, he was on the front foot as well. There was a lot of controversy after the fight. We saw a lot of words from the likes of Eddie Hearn. Now they get to do it again. What kind of fight do you think we're going to see this time around?
I think pretty similar. The only difference I can see, which is going to be a benefit for us fans, is that they're going to get to work quicker. First 3 rounds, Bivol was working straight away. He was going to it. But Beterbiev, I think Beterbiev's going to start a lot quicker and try and bank rounds in and really impose his strength and try and, put a dent in Bivol. I think the key to Bivol, I don't think Bivol should change. But if Beterbiev wants to win, once again, I think he probably needs to start quicker. And I think with Bivol, what he was doing really, really well in the fight is that his footwork was great. You were saying he's fighting on the front foot, which he was a lot at times, but he's also fighting well on the back foot. And as well as Beterbiev making him fight on the back foot, which is, credit to Beterbiev as well. But every time Bivol was coming to the ropes and hanging on the ropes, he kept moving laterally. His lateral sideway movements was really, really key to this fight. And every time he moved laterally out of trouble from the ropes, he gets back into the center of the ring where he's not in trouble. And which is complementary to his footwork, as well as Beterbiev. His footwork is also fantastic. They have both great footworks in different ways. Beterbiev is his footwork is to trap people. Bivol's footwork is to basically, lure people and get out of trouble, and put them into positions where they don't want to be in, and you know, be a really disciplined, sound fighter. Now, if Bivol wins the battle of the footwork against Beterbiev, I think Bivol has a really, really, really good chance. But when Beterbiev gets you trapped like a mouse with some cheese and a mouse trap, you're in trouble.
In my view, I think Beterbiev going into this fight will be looking for a stoppage. I don't think he's going to be looking to bank rounds and bank points and so on and so forth. I think he's going into this fight not minding to be down on the scorecards.
Yeah.
I think he's looking for the devastating combinations to set aside Bivol. I think that's the way in which he's going to address this fight, or how he's going to impose himself in this fight. I think if this fight goes to points, if the trajectory of the fight goes towards the direction of points, I think Bivol's going to win it, and I think he's going to win it by quite a considerable amount of points, because I think that Bivol's punch output is going to be much higher. I think the stages of the rounds where he's going to be on display, I think he's going to be explosive in the opening stages and in the closing stages of the round. I think the only places he's going to give Beterbiev some room to maneuver is in the no
section,
exactly, and I call that stage in boxing the no man's land, because that is easily forgotten in the mind of the judges. So I think Bivol, that, you know what it is for me, the way in which Bivol responded to the loss indicates to me that he knows what he's going to do to win. Like, so, you know, I had Beterbiev winning the first fight. That mean my prediction was that he would win the first fight.
Yeah.
I have Bivol winning this second fight, because I just think that he didn't make any excuses. So he knows the improvements that he's going to make, the output changes that he's going to put in it. And I think Beterbiev also is disappointed in the way in which the fight ended. And I think that for him, he's going to think I wasted too much time boxing with this guy when I should be doing what I do, which is destroying. So I think we're going to see a fight that may look in some parts similar to the last one, but this fight could be completely different. It could be like a completely different fight. As enjoyable, but completely different. And that's the way in which I think it's going to go.
Yeah, I think with Beterbiev is that there's a lot of Beterbiev fights where he just gives the rounds away and knocks them out later, right? And I think that's what he was doing with Bivol as well. However, I think it's really risky if he does that with Bivol, because I think that's what he was doing in the first fight as well. I feel like he could have worked a lot harder earlier. And, you know, I just want to quickly touch about the no man's land point about the middle section of the fights. What Beterbiev was doing, similar to Usyk against Fury in this rematch, he kind of manipulates the rounds as well. In the last like 10 seconds, if you notice, I think pretty much almost every other round in their first fight, Beterbiev was just outworking and outlanding and trying to like make the judges see that he's putting a dent in at every last second of the fight. So that's the last thing the judges remember. So don't be surprised if you see that again.
It's a bit of smarts to do that, but also at the same time, what happens a lot of times during the rounds, in the middle section of the fight, both fighters are a lot more fresher. So though a fighter might be throwing combinations and it looks good and eye catching to the untrained eye, some of that's catching arms, catching gloves, catching so on and so forth, and that's indeed wearing you out, because you're throwing, but you're not catching.
Especially Beterbiev.
Exactly.
As well.
Then, you know, if that ends up coming now it comes towards the latter 30 seconds of the fight. You've been throwing during those middle stages, that no man's land zone. Now comes my time to start throwing. In those last 30 seconds, I might get a better punch output in terms of actual hits during that last 30 seconds than you did in the mid 1 minute 30.
Yeah, I think that's exactly how Beterbiev won those rounds as well. Exactly how you put it. Look, you know, Bivol landing. Bivol's a great combination puncher. You know, that Soviet style. It's like almost a whip the way he lands his punches, and you know, it kept landing on, you know, the forearms, the shoulders, you know, the biceps, etc. But and Beterbiev came after, and you know, done destruction on Bivol. I want to touch on a point about how Bivol addressed the loss, which you have to respect. No excuses whatsoever. He probably in his head may felt like he just won it, but he never admitted it once to anyone that he should have won, which you got to respect and admire. He's also said that he's looking for revenge in this fight, and I look at that approach in two ways. Either that's gonna really motivate him and make or break this performance. At the same time, I do worry that if he's going to be, red-sighted and work harder, be more desperate from the get-go of the fight to bank the rounds throughout the fight, he might walk himself into a Beterbiev shot. So the way he's talking, he wants revenge, he wants to get his win back, and his pride's hurt. His pride is dented, and it's a worry for me as if I'm a Bivol fan.
Which you are.
Which I love Beterbiev as well.
I am a Bivol fan.
No, because if this
we know what you are.
If this was before me and Beterbiev, yeah, I would have been Bivol. But obviously Bivol is one of my favorite fighters. But look, I worry that Bivol, the way he's talking, and I believe the way Bivol talks, he's gonna do right. And the same as Beterbiev, the way he talks, he's gonna do. I think if Bivol is gonna look for revenge, it's either two ways it's gonna happen. He's gonna own it and it will happen and it will happen the way he wants it to happen, or he's gonna overwork himself and he's gonna be almost desperate to win rounds that he's gonna walk himself into a Beterbiev shot. So the way he's talking about revenge, it kind of worries me, to be honest. But it's definitely a make or break type of moment for Dmitry Bivol talking like that.
It is. Now, I want to know what your prediction is.
Right.
Lay your cards on the table. Let us know what you think.
The first time I went with Bivol points, okay, and I scored it a draw, the first fight, and I'm not mad at it going to Beterbiev, and I wouldn't be mad if it went to Bivol. This time, talking about the revenge quote that Bivol said, I'm going to not go with the latter and think he's going to walk himself into a shot. I think he's going to work harder. I think he's going to actually give a better performance than he did in the first fight, which... if he does that, wow. Therefore, I am going with Dmitry Bivol. Split decision.
I think this fight is going to play out two ways. I think it's either going to be a Bivol dominance and then him getting caught with a disgusting good night from Beterbiev in somewhere in rounds 8 to 10, or it's going to be a dominating performance from Dmitry Bivol, akin to that of which we saw against Canelo. And I think we're likely to see something like that. I think he's felt Beterbiev's power. I don't think he's going to second guess the power, but he knows what he's in there with now. So the reality is, I think he's like, let's not beg no bones about it. Canelo's a very, very concussive puncher as well, and he was at that stage when he fought Dmitry Bivol, was knocking out everybody. So I don't think he's going to step into this fight with the fear of getting knocked out. And for me, if I'm going to put my cards on the table and go one way, I'm going with Dmitry Bivol by unanimous decision.
Do you think it's going to be a close?
No, I don't think this fight is ending
outcome?
closely. I don't think this fight is ending closely. I think Bivol's either getting knocked out or he's going to win it conclusively on points, unanimous.
The beauty of it is they're both smart, intelligent fighters, so they both probably feel a lot confident in terms of knowing what they need to do. Now it's which methodology will work, right?
Yeah.
I'm gonna go. We're both going Bivol, split, unanimous. Who's the favorite in this fight, in your opinion?
I don't think there is one. It's tight. I don't think there is one. I think the fight is basically split down the middle. I think it's tight. But guys, let us know what you think about this fight in the comments below. Let us know how you think it's gonna go. If it's gonna go Bivol, if it's gonna go Beterbiev's way, and let us know the method to the madness as well. I've been David Alorca.
And I've been Joe Ojala.
You've been watching The Squared Circle, and we'll see you again after the fight.